I'm excited to share a special interview with Jürg Matti, a man whose story has long captivated me. Jürg is not just a remarkable figure in winter sports, but also an old friend and the brother of someone I used to date. His roots in the picturesque village of Saanen, nestled beside the renowned Gstaad ski resort in the Swiss Alps, set the stage for an extraordinary life journey. Jürg's impact on the world of winter sports is undeniable. As a founding member of the Swiss Snowboard Association and former coach of the Swiss National Snowboard team, he guided athletes to an impressive 17 medals, including 2 Olympic triumphs. But what truly resonates with me about Jürg's story goes beyond his professional accolades. In 2010, Jürg's world was shaken when he lost his wife, a 2-time European champion, to breast cancer. I watched from afar as he navigated the challenging terrain of grief while shouldering the responsibilities of single parenthood. His resilience in the face of this personal tragedy is as inspiring as his achievements on the slopes. In our conversation, Jürg shares insights from his journey, from the adrenaline-fueled world of competitive snowboarding to the quiet moments of personal reflection and growth. We explore goal setting, motivation, and the crucial role of support systems in both professional success and personal healing. Jürg also opens up about rebuilding life after loss, finding new love, and how the unique lifestyle of the Swiss Alps shapes one's well-being. Join me as I sit down with Jürg Matti, coach, mentor, survivor, and friend. His story is a testament to the human spirit's resilience and the transformative power of embracing life's challenges. I'm honored to share this intimate conversation, offering a glimpse into the life of a man who has influenced not just the world of snowboarding, but also my own perspective on life and perseverance. Welcome, Jürg.
So, yes, I had the chance to have some good athletes in my team. And actually, the first medal on the Olympic Games, it was in Nagano, in Japan, in 1998. And it was a bronze medal. And 4 years later in Salt Lake City, there was a guy, he won gold medal. Yes, I was his coach and physical trainer, and also trainer for the technique on the snow. So I was the coach all in one. Yeah.
Then I also read that you were a founding member of the Swiss Snowboard Association.
Oh, yes. So that was just actually my whole background. I grew up in the mountain, and first of all, as a child, I was a good skier. And I ended up in the national ski team, and I was able to participate in 2 World Cup races. But actually, it was 23. One of my athletes in the team, they were asking me as a skier to be their coach, and then I started this team, and in the end there was no national team in the beginning, and then there were quite a few guys from Switzerland, and we were founding the first Swiss snowboard team, and then we became a national team. So it was really the beginning of snowboarding, and it was so interesting and challenging.
They didn't quite accept snowboarders on the same level as skiers back then, right?
Yes. So actually, I got a lot of experience in skiing, and I gave all my experience to the snowboarders. And
but initially, the FIS didn't quite put you guys, the snowboarders. You guys were like a new sport, right? I was just reading an article in the Swiss Info that there was a bit of conflict in the beginning.
Oh, yes. So actually, the beginning was quite peaceful. There was just only one federation and one circus, and then the FIS Federation, that's the ski federation, they thought, snowboarding, we could bring them to the Olympics, but it has to be a ski discipline. So in the end, they said, well, we need to do a new circus under the ski federation, and snowboarding became a ski discipline. So then actually it was quite a concurrence between the 2 federations and the fight. So the peaceful start was over, and then they had to really decide on which circus they participate. But yeah, in the end, it was interesting, and yeah, so one of the athletes were able to find the way to the Olympics.
Yeah, and you were there, like you were part of that whole time.
Oh yes, yeah. So I was part from the beginning up to the end, where there was only one federation in charge, and that was just really a great time, just to be in a sport that is new and quite fashion, and it was just really a great time. And I had the chance to travel around the circus from all over Europe to the States, Canada, Japan. So that was just really a good time.
I was listening to one of your interviews where you said that you push your athletes beyond their limits, or something to do with personal limits, or pushing them, like getting them to go beyond what they think they can do.
Yes. So actually, first of all, when I start with an athlete, I was asking them what is their goal. And the most of them, they said, well, I like to be a world champion or Olympic winner. And then I said, well, there are a few steps to do and you are not there yet. And then I said, well, the next step is just to get stronger, and to do more trainings. And then, of course, then I got him to do more training because he liked to be once on the top of the ranking. So I did it with like baby steps, and according to their own goals, I was able to get them on the same line. And I was not pushing them like other coaches screaming to them. So I said, well, if you don't do it, then you don't gonna achieve your goals.
Yeah, no, you're very motivating. I've experienced you as a coach. Like you got me, I think my carving technique got a little better with you, and you got me mountain biking.
Yes. So actually, you stopped too early. Otherwise, you would end up also somewhere on the Olympic Games. But actually, that makes my job interesting. When I stopped to be a national trainer, I became a personal trainer, and actually then to work with guys like you. It was also interesting where to start. Every person has a different background, different levels, and just to find out where is the next step to achieve their final goals. So that makes it so interesting if I work with an Olympic champion or with a nice girl like you, or my oldest client is 92, and there are also goals to achieve, so that makes it also really interesting. So I have the full spectrum of person's life.
Yeah, because you live in Gstaad now with, you live in Saanen. This is the village next to Gstaad. But Gstaad is known as a very sort of luxurious, fancy place with famous people. And I'm sure you get to run into those. I know you can't divulge who your clients are, but I'm sure you're exposed to them on a regular basis.
Yes. So some are locals and some are quite famous. But in the end, they need to put their trainers on and following my instructions, and they are all thankful just to achieve their different goals. So that's just like the basic. I don't make any difference if there are some guys are famous or how rich, doesn't matter to me.
I love that. You personify what Gstaad is known for, the secrecy that there is up in that valley. Like nobody talks about who they work with.
Oh yes. So no, that is my secret, and I don't like to show up. Oh, I'm the trainer of this or that. So that makes my job not better, So just to show up with those names, so that I like to keep it secret. So like a doctor.
I love it. So how have the lessons that you've had training different people? How do you think your training has changed over time? Has it changed at all? Your approach?
Of course, physically, for an Olympic athlete, I need to give him 100 kilo on his back, and for another, just 10 kilos is enough, or that could be too much. So there is just, I need to adapt all the time. And no, I like to see the person first and then to achieve with him the goals. So there must be first a good relationship, and we need to talk about the goals that we like to achieve, So if there is no goal to achieve, then it's just like to feel good, and that is not the best motivation, and sometimes that's just really important to have the right motivation, so when somebody comes to me and said, well, I like to lose some kilos, so that is easy to measure and to find the goals. Some people are coming to me and they say, well, I have a certain back pain and I like to get rid of it, so there are exercises or treatments to do it in this way. And there are other guys, they like to be faster in running, so I give them the right advices. And there are other guys, so once I got a man in my class and I asked about the motivation that he came in my lesson. And then he said, well, it's because of my wife. And I said, why? Because she thinks that I'm doing not enough. So actually, after 10 minutes, he looked at his watch and just to see how long it goes. So my lessons normally are 60 minutes. And then he said, well, I'm going to invite you for a coffee. So that's the better investment. So actually, I said, well, that is not the part of the deal. Otherwise, I get a problem with your wife. And actually, that was the first and only session with this man. So that's funny. So actually, the motivation should come from the person itself, and then I can give them the right advices.
That is such a lesson that, that anyone can learn, right? When we have an unhealthy family member that we want to fix.
Actually, and I got the, let's say after the years, it's good to have a coach who is not part from the family,
Yeah.
So if you like to change a family member, you get in trouble. So better ask a personal trainer to be in charge. So then he can deal with the emotions better. So that is for sure.
That's great advice. That's wonderful advice to give to people about relationships. What other advice would you have about relationships, both personal and professional?
So actually, there should be support from the family, that the person who likes to change, that they give them the right support, and he should do his own way. And actually, he should find a therapist or a trainer that he gives him the right advices. So that is just the right thing to separate properly the two things. So the family members, the partners, they should be supporters and not therapists. So otherwise you get in emotional conflicts, and that is not the best. So I guess.
So you have the family that's there for support, but then you have the right therapist who's acting as the coach, right?
Yes,
who's
exactly.
saying what to do, but the family's there to support the family member.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So that would be like in a professional setting. Like imagine your ski team or your snowboard team. So you have you as the coach, but then I guess that the rest of the team is supporting the one person. Does that happen on a ski team or a snowboard team?
Yes, so actually, in a team, I like to support each individual person separate. And actually, just to say, when a family member shows up in the team, then they should stay outside the hall or outside the slope, So there are also parents or fathers, they're coming and screaming into the scene, and that is not the best. So there should be.
No. What I was meaning was like the team members themselves. I've often heard that teams, like they support each other, even though they're maybe competing against each other, but they're still like a Swiss team, So the participants in the team are still like a family in a way. They travel together.
Oh yes. Yeah. So actually, in the team itself, everyone has his own goal, but as friends, as team members, you can see, you can support each individual member of the team. And actually, it's like working together. And actually, just by doing video analysis, they can see, I would do it this way. So there's a lot of discussion. So actually, the communication is so important. And so when they talk with each other, there are a lot of good ideas. And I was supporting all the time those conversations, So because sometimes the athletes, they have even better ideas than the coach itself. So you need to get also the source of the athletes itself, so that they can show up with new ideas and they can help each other, and I can pick up those ideas to get part of the training.
So there were 17 medals in your history?
Oh, yes, you did a lot of homework. I didn't count them all. So actually, I was lucky to have so good athletes. And so I forgot about that there were 17.
Well, luckily I can speak German, so I could actually do this research. So which one stands out the most of all those wins?
So if I look back, of course, when you are able to participate on the Olympic Games and if you win a gold medal there, so that is just probably the best that you can achieve as an athlete or as a coach. And as well, there is another gold medal. Actually, there was once our team or my riders, they were participating on the other federations' races, and there was a world championship from the FIS, and actually my riders, they didn't have good bib numbers. They had to start with the last numbers. And normally
bib
don't
numbers,
have bib numbers, yes, exactly. So they were starting in the end of the field, And actually, one of my rider, he was able to catch all the participants before him, and he was able to win a gold medal in the FIS World Championships. So even as an outsider, he was showing them we are still better than them.
That's
emotional
awesome.
As a gold medal in the Olympic Games. So that was one of the best.
So to those people who don't understand ski racing or snowboard racing, why is it bad to have a high bib number?
So actually,
snow quality is bad at the end, or is that what it is?
Yeah, so actually, if you start with the number one, you can start the first, and the slope is still really nice. The condition is perfect. There are no any bumps or holes, and with each rider, the slope gets really bad and gets ruts, and so then already after 20 numbers you can see some lines, and after 50 numbers or riders the slope is really bad. So then normally you can't achieve the same time as with number one.
Right. Although you would think that perhaps maybe at the end it's icier, so it's probably maybe the ice makes them go faster. No?
So sometimes it's like that, but also with the ice, there are also some ruts, and then you need to stand harder on the edges, and then you will lose also time. So it's not a benefit to have it icier than with number one.
So why did you switch from, towards wellness and personal training?
So actually, I was almost 10 years as a national coach active, and during that time, I was traveling around about 9 months a year, and I got 2 girls, and the older one became, I guess, around 6, and it's in Switzerland is the time to start the kindergarten. And then I felt sorry for them that I was all the time around the world and not back home. And then I said, well, I need to find a job in the town. And so actually that was the main reason to change. And I was able to start in town in a new wellness hotel that job as a personal trainer.
Yay. Well, that was a lucky situation.
Definitely lucky situation. And right now, since 20 years, I'm a personal trainer, and so lucky that I found that job. And so actually since 18 years, I'm my own boss, so I'm a self-employer. So like that, I got really my dream job after. Yeah.
So during that time, I guess it would be important to say that you met your first wife in the village, because, you guys, son and small. She was a bit older than you. She was like your older brother's age.
Yes.
So you guys grew up together, but she ended up being a champion snowboarder herself.
Yes, exactly.
Two-time European champion.
Yes, exactly. So my wife was a European champion twice, and once, I guess, third in the World Championships. So she was really good in snowboarding, and actually we were training together. I'm a skier and she was a snowboarder, and then she was also part of the team when I became snowboard trainer. So that was just the beginning. Our relationship started on snow, and so she was 6 years older. Yes. And of course, then she stopped snowboarding with the age of 30. And so that's the time, to get some children, to have kids. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And then sadly, Ursi, as we called her, sadly, left us due to cancer. And, that was a really hard period. I remember you during that time. It wasn't easy.
Yes, of course. That was not easy, just to hear that your wife got cancer. And it was just like 3 years of a battle, actually got all the treatments, chemo, and I don't know, 3 operations. And actually, after 3 years, the cancer was stronger, and she passed away with the age of 44. And then I was alone, actually, with 2 teenagers. So my girls, they were 10 and 12. And that was quite a difficult situation, of course, or the hardest situation I went through in my life. But somehow I got a lot of support from friends like you, and the whole family was around, in the little town, so they gave me a lot of support, and
I was going through a personal battle at that time as well. Like I call it my spiritual crisis, but you were part of my support network during that time. Not just, in the physical training sense, but, you brought me some nice books, and you told me to not give up hope. I remember.
Oh, yes. So actually, I realized, we can't compare our crisis. You were in a different part in your life with a different situation. I had to face another difficult situation, so you can't compare. But actually, there is all the time some time to share and to give us support even when it's hot.
Yeah, it's amazing. Plus, I was confronting the death of my father that I'd never grieved. My father died in an avalanche in our village up there. And it had been like 40 years prior, and I think the grief I was going through was sort of old grief that I had never actually processed. So we were all kind of going through our grieving at the same time, which made for an interesting period. But it's thanks to this relationship that I think I made it through. Like thanks to you and my karate sensei Roland and other people in the village, and my support group and my therapist and all these people. But you were definitely a part of that team.
Yeah, so that's good to hear. And of course, that is just like so important to have good relationship. And we were all the time honest. And that is so important to be honest, it's just to honesty, everyone. Yeah. And so then I guess then we can share just our own experiences or ideas that can help each other.
Yeah.
But it's also important to have, let's say, to know what is good for yourself in those time. And so that
Well, the
is.
story ended quite well. You did find someone, a very special someone. I remember when that happened. You want to tell our listeners you found
Oh,
love again?
yes. Yes. So actually, if, I had about 3.5 years of time to find myself and to find peace over the situation. And my girls, the teenagers, they were doing very well. So after 4 years, they were already 14 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, of course, they were asking themselves, well, it should be time to that their father meets another woman, you know. So actually, one of them said, well, you should open up an internet account, you know. And I said, well, that's a good idea, but I would do it by myself. So in the end, they said, well, you shouldn't wait for too long. And then actually I did that, and I was so honest, you know, because I said, well, first of all, I'm a widow, and second, I have 2 teenagers, you know, and so like that, I guess 99% of all women's, they were just switching off my profile because that is just too much, you know, a widow and 2 teenagers,
Widower. Yeah.
and then just to get in this situation as a new person, that is quite difficult. And actually then somebody got in contact to me, Ariane, and she said, well, you're so a special person because I'm in the same situation. So actually Ariane lost also her husband, and her children were on that time 2 and just 3.5. And actually, yeah, we were talking to each other and sharing our experiences. And in the end, we found the way and we fall in love. And right now we are already since 9 years married, and it's just like another life. And actually, after a few rainy years, the sun came up, definitely.
Aw, that's so awesome. It's really
Yeah.
wonderful. I do remember that early budding relationship, you coming in like a little tired, like I was texting all night with this new person. And I was like, woohoo!
It was quite tiring, but really worth to invest. And that was just really like a gift, or
I,
I don't know.
I actually think of you sometimes when I don't get enough sleep and I've like gone to bed at midnight and wake up at 6. I'm like, you know what? If Jürg could do it, I can do it.
So actually, it was really worth to invest in those hours of texting and
Yeah.
talking. Yes, that was quite intense that time. I remember. Yes.
I'm curious because one of my big interests is habits, like personal habits and how they contribute to your health and well-being and to your performance. What would you say are some of the ways that people sabotage their performance and their health?
So actually, yes, habits are so important to get regular trainings or regular good stimulation of your life. And just to find good habits is, yes, the secret. And actually, if every person has also some bad habits, and you need to replace them with the good ones. So that seems quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
And actually you can't change it from one day to the other. So you need to do some baby steps, you know. So actually, if you drink 10 coffees a day, then you should say, okay, in 10 weeks, I just gonna drink 2 coffees only. So then every week you're gonna reduce it 1 coffee less. So like
Okay.
that, it's not
No,
so hard.
no cold turkey. No cold turkey.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So no shock therapy. You need to do it step by step. And maybe you're going to find some other habits to drink tea or just some juice. So you need to replace
yeah.
this missing coffee with something else. So
Okay.
that is baby steps. Yes.
Wow. Because you have like one of the things I learned living in the Swiss Alps is that there's some healthy habits that people just grow up with just from living there. Like you learn from your mother and your grandmother. And a lot of the people, like I would say in America, they come to Switzerland or the Swiss Alps, and they have different habits that they didn't grow up with. I noticed my grandparents had different habits, and there's some that you have that are just a part, like you grew up with them. What do you think are some of the ones that you think are the ones we should keep, and that maybe would be good if some of the visitors to our valley, to the Gstaad Valley, or even here in America, could learn from you guys in the Swiss Alps?
Yeah, so actually the good habit is that we have cows around the house and actually we know where the milk comes from. And it's also just like my habit. I drink my glass of milk every day. And of course, when you do researches, why drinking milk? So you find a lot of pages is unhealthy. But actually, I grow up with milk, and for me, it's still the best. So that is
Do you
just
drink raw or pasteurized, Jörg? Because right now there's a huge discussion in America about raw milk, and Gwyneth
yeah.
Paltrow is saying
Actually,
that.
so I prefer raw milk, but of course I can't go every day to the farmer. So then there is also pasteurized, but at least it's the milk or from our cows next door. So it's important that they eat the real grass, and not just like artificial corn or something. So that it makes a huge difference that they eat the fresh grass from the fields.
The quality of the milk in Switzerland is different than here in America, where we have feedlots and cows eating, grain.
Yes, exactly. So that is difficult to find the right source, but I guess organic milk you can find everywhere. Of course, you need to pay the double of the price, but I guess that's the price that you have to pay. And then that is my personal habit. I try to eat also just the meat from the region and not from Uruguay or South America. So that is, at least I know it's organic and not bad treated.
Yeah. They're less likely to put chemicals into the cows, right?
Yes.
In your
In
village?
Switzerland. So actually in the village and as well in Switzerland, they have really an eye what the farmers are feeding them. And they have also different organic labels, like bio labels. Like that, even when you go in the supermarket, it's from Switzerland, it's organic, then that is just like the best. But of course, when I go to my colleagues as farmers and get the piece of meat directly from the farm, that is just still special. Yes.
That's special.
Yeah. And the other habit, of course, to live in the mountains is just like to go every day out, like not nightlife out, just out to do some outdoor activities and just to be out in the nature. So that stimulates the whole body. You get some fresh air. And of course, when you walk, when you run, or by myself, I go a lot with my bicycle. So that is the best, to be in the nature and to do your work out there. So I can normally switch off my brain, and that is my daily, let's say, almost meditation, to be out in the nature.
How many hours do you think you spend outdoors per day?
So let's say in average, of course, sometimes I work 10 hours a day indoor, and then at least I like to be 1 hour outside. So that is the minimum. And of course, when there is more time, I like to spend as often outside. So that is just like...
Yeah. Well, you have some clients like I was who was like, let's go mountain biking. Let's go skiing today.
Oh, yes. So that is just my dream. So actually, the normal daily life is just to be somewhere in a gym, or I go also back home to people's home, but there is also mainly indoor. And just from time to time, there are some people, they like to do also something outside. Yeah.
Yeah, back to the Swiss life. I was thinking, like, I knowing your mom, like, she had she hasn't, I don't know if she still has it, but an amazing vegetable garden. And a lot of the food that you grew up eating was stuff that she took out of the garden and that she grew. And is that still, would you say that's a huge part of what you believe is still healthy?
Oh, of course, when you have a possibility to get your vegetables from your own garden, that is still the best, you know.
Mhm.
And of course, not everyone has the piece of land to plant
Yeah.
your own food, so that is still one of the best. And
Yeah.
of course, there was never enough potatoes for the whole year, so there were just a few for a nice raclette, and of course we were enjoying them so much, and it was just unique. And but that
Yeah.
actually that is not possible because we were not
Yeah.
farmers. Probably as a farmer you can feed your family with your own food, but not with your own vegetable
Yeah.
garden. That is not enough.
But she always cooked. And so, and I know that you did and Ursi did, and then your daughters, like you guys cook your lunches and
Oh,
do you,
yeah. So actually, that was just part of the Swiss mentality that my mother, she was cooking all the time,
Mhm.
lunch and dinner, and
Mhm.
she got the food directly from the healthiest place. And so we barely went out, you know, because the food in the restaurants were is still so expensive. So that is one reason to save money, and then you know what is on your plate, you know, when you cook
Mhm.
yourself. But it takes a lot of time, and actually, yeah, Ariane, she works also part time, about 40%, and on those days when she is working, then I try to take over, and I have some meals that I can cook by myself for my kids. So actually,
Yeah.
so
My daughter's experienced your Kalbsgeschnetzeltes. She's had your veal with cream sauce, and she said it's amazing.
oh
Isabella,
yes,
she still
yes,
remembers
yes.
it.
One of the specialty and with this kind of rösti. Yeah, but actually that is just one of the best thing that, of course, we like to know what is on our plate. If you cook by yourself, you can do your own ingredients, and that is important, you know. And when you go out somewhere in a restaurant, you never know what they do back there in the kitchen.
So, how do you think, like a lot of people in America believe that a vegan diet is conducive to high performance in sports? What's your vision on that or your opinion?
Yes, actually, let's say if you eat too much meat, then you get too much acid. But one good piece a week, that is just nothing against that. Yes.
You remind me of my doctor when I was pregnant with my son. They didn't give me these vitamin pills that they give you here in the United States. He
Yeah.
just said, have a piece of meat a week.
Yes. Yeah. No, there is just, of course, everyone needs to find his own way. And of course, if you get enough proteins from vegan food, but it's difficult to get them, and to cook it vegan, it's quite a lot of work. So you need to have a good cook in the background if you like to eat non-stop
Hmm.
vegan food, and yeah, so that is just quite
Yeah.
difficult.
Wow. Would you say do you eat meat every day?
No, 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 not anymore. Yeah, so actually almost, yes, because of my uncle or my father, he grew up in a butcher's factory. And actually my uncle, he got 96, and up to his age of 91, he was eating twice a day meat. And he said it's not a question about quantity, it's about the quality. And he
Mm.
knew exactly where he gets his meat from, you know, and
Hmm.
so he was a specialist in that. And of course, yeah, there
Yeah.
was, I guess that's the most important thing, just to have healthy yeah, meat, and
Yeah.
not from the
Well,
industrial production.
I do remember the Swiss rules for, how you even have a cow. I think it needs to have a window. the quality of life for cows is pretty high.
Oh yes, yeah. So they are almost holy in our in our country. So actually, the new rules are if you have like to get the organic label for your cows,
Mm-hmm.
you need to give them enough space even to walk around in their barn. You know, they are not tightened
Mm-hmm.
up by a rope, so they are able to walk inside their barn because in the winter they can't walk outside in the snow. So the
Mm-hmm.
barns they are getting bigger and bigger, and they are able to walk inside, and they need to get enough um, daily light and fresh air. So they have almost more rights than human beings. So there was
Yeah.
a good example. Actually, my brother, he is an architect, and actually he had a farmer, and he liked to change his barn to the living room. And then they said, "Oh no, this is not legal to get a new window there in this barn. It should stay like it is, just really close and dark, nothing able to change from the outside." And then the farmer said, "Okay, let's get the cows back." And then they said, "Oh, if you get the cows back, you need to get big, nice windows." You know, and then actually, I guess it ended up they were bringing the cows in for a year, and then he brought the cows to his neighbor, and then he said, "Well, right now I can get back to my barn with the new windows." So that's a
Oh,
funny
that's
story.
so funny. Oh my God. So, what are your plans, Jörg? Are you going to coaching, or are you any plans for coaching teams anymore? Or are you going to stick with personal training, or what are you?
So yeah, so actually, I'm already 20 years in this business as a personal trainer, and I'm still really happy with my job. You know, I love to work with people, and I see the success, the progress with my athletes, with my students. And
Mhm.
actually, when some of them shows up and say, "Well, I like to get to the marathon, I like to support him," and actually, I guess if there's somebody comes to me and say, "Well, you should be again trainer of a national team," I guess I'm not willing to travel around anymore around the world. So
Mhm.
uh, if it's something in front of my house or actually in the village, then it's okay. And so I'm open up for all
Yeah.
kind of trainings.
So,
But
so if people come to Gstaad, Saanen, or that valley, you're there.
yes, I'm there. Yes, definitely.
So bring people to you.
Yes, yes. So they are coming up and are actually, yeah, they like to be, let's say, out in the countryside, and there are more and more
Mm-hmm.
people. They decide to live here and not anymore in the cities. And there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people they are able to do like home office. So there are more and more people living the whole year here in the mountains. So like that, yeah, I still have enough clients, so I don't need to go somewhere else.
You live in paradise. I miss it. So, is there anything else I haven't mentioned? I know that you have a very deep spiritual faith, and that faith carried you through those hard times. I don't know if you want to speak about that. Like,
Yeah, so actually, yeah, when I lost my wife, and let's say that was really a difficult time, and I remember I was really asking why it happened. You know, I had so many questions, and I guess it was just after a week where my wife passed away, and there was a nice winter day with fresh snow. You know, and normally I go out in the powder and ride down a mountain, you know, with my board. And actually, I said, well, I can't do that. You know, I'm still mourning. I should be back home. And then I said, why not? So then I just went up to that mountain, you know, with my snowboard, and I ride down in the fresh powder, and there was joy coming up. And
yeah.
this feeling was so strange, you know. And I said, well, I'm mourning, but there is joy. And then
Mm,
on the second run, I was already screaming from joy, you know, because it was so fun to ride down the
mm,
mountain. And then in the third round on the cable car, I was alone, and it was so emotional because I felt joy, even in this miserable situation. And I guess that was the best lesson that I got on that time, because you need to listen to your own, and just to know what is good for you, and do those things that is good for you also in the most difficult time. So actually to find some joy, and it's part, it's like children's, I learned from my children's. They were really so sad about that loss of their mother, and just 5 minutes later they were laughing about an ice cream, So the kids, they are just so emotional, they can enjoy their moments. And I said, well, in this case, I like to be like children's, just to live in the moment. And I felt on that moment, on that day, so much joy. And I said, well, I need to find those moments, also in the future.
Wow, that's so powerful. Plus, knowing Ursi, she probably would have wanted you to have that joy. So
yes, exactly. So I guess on that day I was closer. I was almost like in heaven, when to write down powder with some light from the sun. So that is just, I was quite close to my wife there. Yeah,
that's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Jürg. How can people? I know you've got a totally packed schedule with all your people in Gstaad, but if somebody did come to Gstaad and wanted to meet you, is there a way they can get in touch with you?
So actually they should ask you for my number.
Okay.
Let's do it like that, because I don't have any internet homepage or not Instagram so far. I'm not into that. So I don't need it. I still have enough clients. They call me up, and that's the way I get it.
The old-fashioned way. I love it. You know what? I spend way too much time on it, and it's keeping me from being outdoors. So
yes, honored to talk to you, and great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all the tips and the advice, and it's just been so great to reconnect with you. And thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Before we wrap up, I'd like to thank Oliver Kiker for the jingle and Gwendolyn Christian for the backup support. Also, a quick reminder, these interviews are not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or psychological advice. Always consult with a qualified professional for any major decisions in your life. And thanks for joining me in exploring the connections that make us human and learning insights and strategies to help us build, heal, and nurture relationships, including and especially the one with yourself. It's been an honor to share this time with you and to bring you conversations with some of the brightest minds who deserve more recognition. Remember, life's too short to take too seriously, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button, get outside, and let's continue this journey of life together. See you next time.